It is the 25th day of February 2023, coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome to TV47 Weekend, the top 3 stories prepared just for you. Tonight.
Mtu ukilala, ukiamka asubuhi, unashukuru Mungu. Mpaka mpaka masaa ya usiku, ni kama ukilala usiku, ni kama umelala siku mbili.
3 people are dead following Samburu bandit attack.
Jana KDF wamepigwa. Leo chief ameuawa na wengine. Na tunangoja raia watafanya nini na wataisha.
Daring bandits continue to terrorize residents in the northern part of the country despite ongoing security operation. Also tonight,
we will show that you lost the election by over 2.1 million votes.
Azimio leaders chide President William Ruto. They say his priorities are wrong.
Pesa ya Kenya itatumika kuajiri madaktari, kuajiri walimu na kuajiri hawa vijana wetu.
The leaders have vowed to continue with their anti-government protests. Plus, former President Uhuru Kenyatta allies kicked out of government. This as President William Ruto makes new state appointments. Good evening from wherever you're joining us from, and welcome to the broadcast. Rhoda Mwende is on the sign language interpretation. I'm yours truly, Stanley. During it, in the next 30 minutes, I'll be telling you what is happening in the country and beyond. Then in the next 30 minutes, we'll be boarding a flight all the way to Brazil for the one and only GOpato hitmaker. You definitely do want to miss that. Now, tonight, Elkek area in Samburu County is bleeding after 3 people, including the area chief, were killed following banditry attack. Now, despite stringent measures put by the government to flash out the criminals in the northern part of Kenya, the daring bandits continue to give residents sleepless nights. This even as the locals say the commercial uhalifu operation has not bore any fruits yet. Listen in. Sorrow, anger, despair is written all over the faces of these residents here as they struggle to look at the lifeless bodies of 2 residents and an area chief. This is Elkek Sabuku in Samburu West, Samburu County, where the 3 lost their lives at 11 a.m. Saturday. Locals here tell us that they are living in fear following the recent incessant attacks and raids.
Rais Ruto, mimi namkumbuka vizuri sana wakati ulipokuwa Baragoi. Ulisema mtajua amjui. Jana askari wako wa jeshi 2 walipigwa risasi.
Hali watu wetu wameuliwa na tunashangaa kabisa kwa sababu tumeisha kila usiku ng'ombe inaenda.
The attack comes barely hours after another raid in Pura village, Loroki division, Samburu County, where armed bandits ambushed a security team that was patrolling the area ahead of the operation Komesha Uhalifu. Ironically, Samburu West is among the areas where the government has instituted the dusk to dawn curfew, with the locals here saying they have been forced to flee their homes in search of safer grounds.
Toroka, tukakuja saidi ya juu. Pokota hao wametupata tangu jana, mliona vile wamevamia jeshi kwa hii ngozi ya Chachunai.
Friday, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki listed a raft of measures the government will put in order to flush out the bandits, including teaming up with the Uganda and South Sudan governments in order to restrict the movements of the bandits.
Waziri Kindiki, ni nini tunangoja? Mnasema disarmament hatuoni. Kila mtu anapigwa hapa, askari anapigwa, wiki mzima tunauawa. Mpaka hata chief leo anauawa na raia wengine na NPR. Watu wetu hawana silaha kwa upande hii na tunachinjwa kama mbuzi.
Right, down to some politics. Azimio One Kenya leader Raila Odinga today took the People's Baraza rally to Kakamega County, where he insisted that he won the 2022 presidential election, challenging the electoral body IEBC to open its servers. And as Violet Auma reports, Azimio leaders have vowed to call for mass action in the next 11 days if the government will not lower the prices of basic commodities.
Opposition leader Raila Odinga, together with his Azimio brigade, today held a People's Baraza rally in Amalemba grounds, Kakamega County. Raila affirmed his win in the 2022 general election, challenging Ruto to open the IEBC servers if he has nothing to hide.
Azimio ilishinda kura kwa counties 36. And I can assure you, you will show that you lost the election by over 2.1 million votes. Kama ulishinda unagopa nini? Unagopa nini? Fungua, kama nasema uongo, fungua sawa.
Chebukati aliiba kura yetu 2017, mimi na Raila. Si ni kweli? Na 2013 waliiba. Ukweli wa mambo. Tunasema hii ya 22, it is not over until it is over.
Tunataka reforms katika IBC kama tunataka amani katika nchi yetu. Bwana Ruto, your Smartmatics friends, your Venezuelan friends protested, wakazuia servers kufunguliwa. Sasa if you are smart enough, tell your Smartmatics friends wafungue server mara moja.
NARC Kenya Party leader Martha Karua criticized the move by President Ruto to remove subsidies that were meant to cushion Kenyans against high cost of living. The leaders made a clarion call to locals to stand up for their rights, accusing the Kenya Kwanza government for taking wrong priorities at a time when Kenyans are faced with harsh economic times.
Wasipofanya ile baba alitangaza kwa zile siku aliwapea, tutasema siku imefika.
Na hii safari tunaenda mpaka mwisho. Yale yote baba amesema tutaenda pamoja. Na naomba tena, siku atapiga firibi, mujitokeze.
Revolutions, rebellions, they don't come easy. They don't come easy. Lakini if you are united, tutafika mahali ambapo baba nataka tufike.
Baba Kakamega ni baba yako, na sisi kama wana Azimio tunakutambua sana. You are the champion of devolution. Mambo ya ugatuzi ambayo tunasherehekea hivi sasa, it is because of you.
The leaders said that the university fee increment will only widen the gap between the haves and have-nots in the country.
Tutamkumbalia auwe wa Kenya kwa njaa na akataze watoto wetu shule.
Earlier today, the Azimio team attended a homecoming ceremony of Luanda Member of Parliament Dick Maungu at Esiandumba Secondary School in Vihiga County before holding a People's Baraza at Amalemba grounds in Kakamega County.
The Azimio leaders have said that they intend to restore people's voice and strengthen democracy in the numerous meetings they're holding across the country. And tomorrow, Azimio leaders are expected to be in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County. Violet Hauma, TV47, Kakamega.
And at the same time, Azimio coalition leaders have dismissed claims that party leader Raila Odinga spent 2 billion Kenyan shillings from the exchequer while serving as African Union envoy for infrastructure development before his controversial exit this week. Odinga's co-principal, Kalonzo Musyoka, has termed the claims as blatant lies, claiming Odinga received his dues from Addis Ababa, including mayor tickets. Apollo Kamau tells us more.
The controversial exit of Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga from the African Union was in Azimio crosshairs during the Kakamega People's Baraza, where former country's diplomat and foreign affairs drawn from the exchequer during his 5-year term at the Addis Ababa-based body.
Uwezi basi ukasema ile pesa Kenya imelipa ndio inaenda kulipa Raila. Uongo wa ajabu. Kwa hivyo watu ni waongo, hata hawajui Afrika inafanya kazi namna gani. Kwa hivyo mtoe hiyo machafu ambaye aliongea mambo haya, hajui kabisa, because I remember his tickets used to come from Addis Ababa.
Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, who served as the chairman of the National Assembly's Budget and Appropriations Committee, claimed Odinga spent 600 million shillings annually for his allowances, office and travel.
Hakuwa analipiwa na treasury ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo hata Yatani should have made it plain kwamba every cent Raila was using in that office was coming from the from the commission headquarters in Addis Ababa. Ni lazima tutetee baba, ama sivyo? Na mimi nikimtetea kila mtu wa Kenya najua mimi sijui kuongea urongo.
The African Union Commission is said to have been put in an awkward position by Odinga, given his anti-government stance for not recognizing President William Ruto as the legitimately elected president. Odinga's allies have blamed President William Ruto for his premature exit. Odinga claims he wrote to the AU 3 weeks before the AU letter informing him of his exit, raising the question of whether he was kicked out or of his own volition. Apol Kamau, TV47.
Right, and speaking of kicking out people, President William Ruto has made new state appointments to boards of state agencies, with the majority of former President Uhuru Kenyatta's allies kicked out. This as President William Ruto's allies are ripped big in the latest state and parastatal appointments. Here's Flora Limuki with the details.
President William Ruto has appointed Muyumba Simon Indimuli to be the Secretary of the Board of the State Corporations Advisory Committee for a 3-year period effective January 30th, 2023. The appointment of Wanjiku Wakogi has been revoked. The head of state, in a Gazette notice dated February 24th, 2023, has also appointed Nairobi businessman Yogas Mohammed to be the chairperson of the Board of Directors of Capital Markets Authority for a 3-year period effective immediately. The appointment of Nick Nesbitt has equally been revoked. Sylvanus Maritim takes over as the non-executive chairperson of the Board of the Information and Communications Technology Authority for a 3-year period effective immediately. Also revoked is the appointment of Professor Frederick Owino. Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kidhuri Kindiki, on the other hand, has appointed Ali Swale Nyamai and Jerry Madhu, former Mgwen MP Elijah Lagat, Frederick Ngugi and Lucien Zogo to be members of the National Campaign Against Drug Abuse Authority NACADA. Elsewhere, Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir has appointed Mark Nderitu Muturi, Milton Lushiri, Sami Shoge and Peter Kenneth Kimani to serve as members of the Board of Directors of Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation for a 3-year period effective immediately. Journalist John Njugu Njoroge is the new chairperson of Kenya Film Classification Board for a 3-year period effective immediately, following his appointment by Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba. Flora Limuki, TV47.
And First Lady Rachel Ruto today accompanied the United States of America First Lady Dr. Jill Biden during her tour of Kibera area here in Nairobi. Dr. Jill gained first-hand experience on the table banking model when she attended a chama in the area. Gilbert Nalwa with the story.
The United States First Lady Dr. Jill Biden today visited Kibera accompanied by Kenya's First Lady Rachel Ruto. The two met with the Women for Peace group in Kibera to offer knowledge and first-hand experience on the highly effective table banking model.
Today we have about 150,000 women who are members of Joyful Women Organization. We have about 11,000 groups, and we continue to spread the joy. And not to be ignorant of the fact that we've had our own challenges, especially during COVID-19. We really had challenges with the women meeting, because when they said that people could not meet, then our women could not meet.
Kenya's First Lady Rachel Ruto encouraged women groups to invest in table banking, citing that COVID-19 had affected businesses in the country, with the women saying they are in the process of having their activities digitalized.
One of the things that COVID taught us was to go digital. So you can see everything that we are doing here is manual, but we're in the process of digitizing our processes.
According to Dr. Jill, the table banking program among women groups was a noble initiative and urged women to use it effectively to sustain their livelihoods.
I love seeing this program, Rachel, that you started, because I think one of the things that I've been, since I came to Kenya, I came to work on girls' education, women's empowerment, and you are doing exactly that.
According to Rachel Ruto, women who have limited access to credit from financial institutions can borrow money they have pulled together through table banking to enable them start or expand their own businesses.
When they borrow this money on the table, they are able to do enterprises. You know, we know that many other times women do not have collateral to go to the commercial banks to borrow money, because the collaterals that the women would really have maybe would be title deeds and things like that. that. So we do a lot of capacity building, and we also do a lot of financial literacy to the ladies.
Gilbert Nalwa, TV 47.
Let's get into some health matters now. And Kenya has a maternal death rate of about 362 per 100,000 live births, emanating from half of the health facilities that do deliveries. But have you ever wondered what life is like for women who lose their babies and the challenges and psychological burden they are forced to battle? Our reporter Elizabeth Atieno spoke to some women who have lost their babies and filed this report.
31-year-old Margaret Mukoya is still admitted at one of the health facilities in the country after a cesarean section. But unfortunately for Mukoya, she will not be able to go back home with her newborn baby, who died just moments after delivery.
I watched my baby girl die.
Mukoya painfully recalls what happened on that fateful day when she saw her newborn baby for the first and last time.
But unajua ICU, it's separated na glasses. So hawa ni wengine wananiangalia na weird way. So I'm like, kwani kuna nini? Nikamuuliza tena, ukosha mwanamtoi? Akaniambia yeye ni mwanamtoi, zoea uko fiti. All the time ananiambia you're my hero. So akaanza doctor akakam. Akaniuliza, how are you doing? Nikamwambia, aliuliza tu, how are you doing? Nikamwambia, how is my baby? The question alinipea, aliniambia tu, your baby is gone.
In some instances, mothers are able to make it out of the maternal ward with their babies. However, a twist could emerge in either weeks, months, or even years later. Such is a story of Monica Nyarima, who is yet to find closure after losing her 12-year-old under mysterious circumstances on the 9th of March 2022.
Hakuwa mtoto msiku. Hakuwa si accidentally aligongwa na gari ama akaanguka ama nini. I just found her in the house unconscious. Tukakimbiza hosi, but the doctors confirmed ameenda, so even to the date asijui kenye kilifanyikia.
During the grieving period, Monica was forced to detach from the whole world just so she could find her lost self. She affirms that healing is an individual responsibility, as some family members walk out when the emotional burden is too much to bear.
Bidi hata like me, libidi hata nihame kwenye nilikuwa nakaa. Society, watu wengi hawako aware of grieving, especially when you are grieving a child.
They have lost their, dear friends because as a result of, expectations from their husband. And of course, when they lose their firstborn, or maybe through that, some become single, not by choice, but through that loss.
A clarion call has been made for the society to be empathetic on women who have lost their children, as psychologists call for the government and different organizations to come up with forums that will help women open up while benefiting from free counseling services.
Give women that forum to speak, give them a free space to just air out their pain. Connect them to medics, connect them to psychologists where they can get help. Then that would be really such a good thing.
But there lies a ray of hope for Nyarima, who is now part of this group of women under the Heroic Women Forum launched in January this year, that is aimed at reaching out and offering psychosocial support to women who are grieving the loss of a child.
We are looking forward to cover every county every month. So this month we are in Nairobi, the next month we are planning to go to Murang'a. Our future plans are even to go to prisons.
But for Nyarima and Mukaya, the small coffins in which the bodies of their children lie have left a big gap, wound, but more so a heavy emotional and psychological burden. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47, Nairobi.
And in small but heavy coffins, no parent should be carrying those particular coffins. Thank you, Elizabeth Atieno, for sharing that particular story. Now, people suffering from rare diseases in Kenya have to contend with discrimination, misdiagnosis, failure to diagnose, and a lack of proper treatment due to lack of an adequate research and knowledge about the diseases, as the country does not have a database on people with those diseases, despite there being a number of people suffering from the conditions. And as the world prepares to mark Rare Diseases Day on 28th of February, a non-governmental organization dubbed Rare Diseases Kenya organized a forum in Nairobi to advocate for the needs of people living with rare diseases. Sylvia Nyongesa tells us more.
As the name suggests, very few people suffer from rare diseases worldwide, with the community having very little or no information about them. Oftentimes, survivors of such diseases suffer from misdiagnosis, failure to get a diagnosis completely, and lack of access to correct treatment. 36-year-old Joy Watitwa from Sinoko village in Kandui constituency, Bungoma County, who is battling deep vein thrombosis, DVT, says the condition arose after she was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, and narrates about the excruciating pain that she has to endure on bad days.
I have DVT extensive on both limbs, so ilifika mali ikakataa joint pains, mikono zinakataa, miguu, anywhere where there is like any joint. The pain is not just like any other pain. You know, people say like they know pain, but they don't know pain, real pain.
Complications accompanying DVT include development of ulcers that usually take a long time to heal on various parts of the body, apart from the stigma they face from the community that lacks information about the diseases.
Like just no one wants to associate with, even at workplaces. Ni ngumu sana. People think maybe wengine watasema it's witchcraft, wengine watasema how can we just sit hivi na damu inaisha kwa mwili.
For a disease to be classified as rare in Kenya, it must have affected less than 8,000 people. However, it has proven difficult to get real-time statistics for the same in Kenya due to lack of a database for survivors and the specific diseases that they suffer from in health institutions in the country. In a forum organized by Rare Diseases Kenya, stakeholders disclosed the challenges they face when taking care of survivors of rare diseases due to lack of adequate information and research about the conditions, as only few specialists can accurately diagnose and treat them.
Doctors cannot know all 7,000 rare diseases, let's be fair. But then there has to be certain strides that get us there.
We need to now bring in curriculum designs for training for doctors while they're in school, therapeutic guidelines, and steps to be taken for specific rare diseases. So that is what we need to work on. It does not exist.
Other challenges are lack of a comprehensive database on survivors and the diseases, lack of research on the conditions, and inability of NHIF to cover treatment and care for the diseases. Some rare diseases include rare cancers, spinal muscular atrophy, cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, spina bifida, and hemophilia. Calls have been made to increase grassroots sensitization on the diseases, care for survivors, and integration into the community in line with this year's theme, Share Your Colors and Light Up for Rare. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47, Nairobi.
Well, thank you for that, Sylvia Nyongesa. Now, across the borders, vote counting is underway in Nigeria's tightest presidential election since military rule ended in 1999. Voting was marred by long delays as polling stations failed to open on time in some areas because of logistical problems and security incidences. Turnout appeared to be high, with many young first-time voters arriving before dawn to cast their ballots. The elections are the biggest democratic exercise in Africa, with 87 million people eligible to vote.
Polls opened in Nigeria this morning as over 93 million registered voters chose among the 18 presidential candidates, 3 of whom are front-runners according to opinion polls. The ruling party, the All Progressive Congress APC, has fielded a former governor of Lagos State, 70-year-old Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The main opposition, People's Democratic Party PDP, has fronted Atiku Abubakar. Atiku has the experience of having run for the presidency 5 times and lost in all. A potentially surprising factor is Labour Party's Peter Obi, 61, who is hoping to end the dominance of PDP and APC Nigeria politics since the end of the military rule in 1999. The election brings to an end the term of the incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari after 8 years of 2 terms presidential tenure as per the Nigerian constitution. President Buhari's term has been riddled with a myriad of challenges, including insecurity, where the West African is currently experiencing campaign violence, ransom kidnappings, Boko Haram terrorism in the north, and a separatist insurgency in the southeast. The separatist Biafra people have stated that they are not interested in this election, as what matters to them is a referendum for secession. The economy is another significant factor because of the rising cost of living and huge unemployment, especially among the youth. The outcome of the elections in Nigeria will certainly have a bearing on Kenya's strategic interest in the region, continent, and the international system. The election is therefore likely to reconfigure Kenya's ties with Nigeria and the West African states, given that a new president will be in office. For one to win elections, a candidate needs to have the most votes and 25% of ballots cast in 2/3 of Nigeria's 36 states to be declared the winner. Kenya's former President Uhuru Kenyatta is leading an African Union election observation mission in the populous country. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
And we'll definitely be keeping up to speed on what will be happening in Nigeria. And to the wonderful world of sports, Umar Kasumba and Hassan Abdallah were earlier today on target as Bandari FC thrashed Bidco United 2-0 in the round 17 FKF Premier League fixture at the Mbaraki Sports Club. Now Bandari were fired out to bag the maximum points in the fixture and took an early lead through Kasumba's goal in the 8th minute before Abdallah extended the lead for the Dockers in the 46th minute. Also, Benson Omala and Dennis Nganga scored goals to help Gor Mahia defeat Kenya Police 2-1 at the Kasarani Stadium to extend the lead atop the league's standings to 37 points. Other matches in the league saw Kakamega Homeboys edge Vihiga Bullets 1-0 at the Bukungu Stadium. Similar results are registered by Mathare United in the match against Wazito FC at the Ruaraka Sports Club. And Kenneth Samburu Mungara was earlier today crowned the champion of the 2023 edition of the Limuru Half Marathon held at the Rironi Primary School in Kiambu County. Mungara was in fine form as he finished the race fast in a time of 1 hour and 48.28 seconds, while Moses Mbugo came in second, only 1.34 minutes off the pace as Gabriel Kahura settled for third. Meanwhile, in the 10-kilometer race, Samuel Mungai emerged victorious ahead of James Mungara and Kevin Mwiruri, who came in second and third respectively. Area MP John L. Kirangu, while addressing the press, stated that the competition will be used to raise funds to finance education for the needy students in the area.
Yetu kubwa ni kuchanga pesa kwa sababu najua kuna changamoto sana upande wa form 1 ama shule ama university education, na kwa hivyo tungetaka kwa njia yote kutafuta pesa ambao tutaongeza ile basari serikali inatupatia ama county, ndio sisi kama watu wa Limuru tuweze kusaidia watoto wengi ambao wako na shida.
Hapa Limuru ita depend na pesa zenye tutapata, but we are planning to help as many as we can through this marathon so that we can be able to help them, especially those ones that have not yet wajaingia shule, ndio tunataka kwanza kusaidia waweze kuingia form 1 wenye bado hawajasaidika na bursaries.
Marathon inaona itatusaidia, tutaweza kuchukua pesa kwa watu, itasaidia watoto wenye hata hawajiwezi. Kwa hivyo tunaifurahia sana na tungeomba mheshimiwa wetu azidi na hiyo tu mpango.
Ikichangwa kama wanafunzi wale hawana pesa, like kuna orphans, kuna wale below the margin line, the poverty area, hapo kuna wale watasaidika.